success happens by chance. I made a decision that I was going to change my life. I made a decision that I was going to do stream. Now, part is that I found guys like Mark Dean, absolutely. But I tell you right now, if I hadn't made the decision and went all in, I'd have never had the guts to have said something to him and went and shown him the plan. We've got to make a decision. So before we leave tonight, I hope everybody in this room makes the decision that you're going to change your life. We've got the vehicle, but the vehicle does you no good if you don't get in it, start it, and mash the gas to the floor, does it? I mean, we've got to do something if we want anything to change. All right, make a decision, and this is a big one, that the buck stops here. Make a decision that the buck stops here. What does that mean? That means you need to look in the mirror and say, if it's to be, it's up to me. You know, we all tend to want to make a lot of excuses, don't we?
Yes.
You know, that just tends to be the thing that we like to do in life, is make excuses. Well, I'm telling you what, ladies and gentlemen, nobody picks their parents, do they?
Nope.
You just pop out and there you are.
Yep.
You know, I had one good one, one bad one. I guess I was kind of 50-50 there. I mean, my mama was an angel and my dad was a devil. So, I mean, I kind of had one of each of them, but we don't get to pick at. So, it is what it is. Could we use that as an excuse? Yeah, sure could. You know, we could use our upbringing as an excuse. I grew up in the ghettos. That would have been a pretty good excuse, wouldn't it? I didn't have a dad. I grew up in the ghettos, no money, wrong side of the tracks, you know, drugs. I mean, I could have used all that stuff as an excuse to just stay where I was, couldn't I? Yep. You've got those same decisions, ladies and gentlemen. See, the stuff that happens to you, it'll either make you bitter or it'll make you better. I decided, instead of being bitter about it, to make me better. Because I couldn't go back and change any of that stuff. That's just the way it was. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to understand that we're not going to know why we're in the spot we're in until we get to heaven and can ask the good Lord himself. But that's just the way it is. Some of us have bigger hurdles to get over than others. Okay, so what? So what? Either we're going to stop when we get to the hurdle, or we're going to figure out a way to get over it. I decided I'm going to figure out a way to get over these hurdles. And yeah, my hurdles were a lot bigger than some of the buddies I knew. But it is what it is. I don't care. I'm happy that I grew up the way I grew up because it makes me appreciate everything that I have right now. You know, one other thing before I move on to my next point is, here's something else that we all need to get through our minds, is that everybody in this room has dirty laundry. Every person in this room has done one of those things or a bunch of those things where after it was over you go, what was I thinking? You know, I told somebody the other day, Dino, that I got so many skeletons in my closet, my clothes barely fit in, you know? I mean, I've screwed up a bunch in my life. Hopefully I've learned from all those. Hopefully you've learned from yours. But we need to understand that none of us get to pick our parents, and we've all made a few mistakes. So let's not let that hold us back. Let's not let that make us bitter. Let's let all that stuff make us better. Fair enough? So when you get home tonight, I want you to look in the mirror and say, if it's to be, it's up to me. And let's quit talking about what happened in our daddy or our granddaddy or what happened here or there or yonder. None of that really matters, ladies and gentlemen. It's what we do with our own life. Let's quit blaming everybody else and everything else for our lack of success, and let's realize it's really up to us. And yes, I'll say it again, I understand that some of us have higher hurdles to get over. We can still get over them, ladies and gentlemen. It just is what it is. Let's make the best of whatever situation we come from. Fair enough?
Yes. Yeah.
So the buck stops with us. Number 2, let's make a decision to grow as a person. Tonight, let's make a decision to grow as a person. Some of the best advice I ever got. Good looking suit. That is a good looking suit. I feel underdressed now, huh? The best piece of advice I ever got was, I went to the one successful cousin I have out of thousands of cousins. I mean, I got this huge extended family. Manny Carter is my cousin that made something out of himself. And I remember going to him and saying, Manny, I want to be successful like you. What do I need to do? And I remember Manny looking at me and saying, Presley, you got to understand this. If you want more, you've got to become more. He said, you don't chase success. You attract success by the person you become. So I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you want more out of life, you've got to start working on yourself. You've got to start growing yourself. I don't have time to go into all my stuff that I usually go into. I'll just kind of brush the tops of each of them, but one, read a little bit. If you read 10 pages a day, and couldn't we all read 10 pages a day if we wanted to? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Yeah, take 20 minutes, read 10 pages. We could do that if we thought it was important. That wouldn't change our life if we read that before we went to bed tonight, but I'm telling you this, what if we did it tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day? And how about every day for this next year we read 10 pages? Well, 10 times 365 is 3,650, and you've read 15, 20 books. I would dare say most of us hadn't read 15, 20 books since we got out of school. Amen or oh me, huh? I would dare say. But you know, here's what we got to understand about that. Your circumstances are because of your actions, but your actions are because of your thoughts. And if you want to change your circumstances, it starts by changing your thought process. And the way we change our thoughts is by putting some different stuff in our mind, and that's where that reading of good books comes in handy. I challenge everybody, let's read 10 pages a day for the next 365 days, and let's have this meeting again at that point in time next year, and let's see how we're different. Our bodies may look kind of alike, but I promise you, your mind won't be the same. The other way you can do it is by, as you're driving around, put a book on CD in that CD player, like I do. I've got audio books on my phone. It's a little program called Audio Books, and I've got it where I can drive around and I can listen. So I'll just set that phone right next to me, and I'll be listening to Zig Ziglar books, Stephen Covey books, Les Brown talking. I've been listening to all that stuff. That puts good stuff in our mind instead of listening to the negative news. How about at night, instead of watching the time-wasting electronic income reducer that most people call a television? Oh, y'all know what that time-wasting electronic income reducer is, huh?
Oh my God.
Now, understand this. I'm not going to sit here and say I never watch TV. Won't do it. I like watching the Mavs. I like watching the Cowboys. Jeannie and I watch a movie every once in a while. But I'll say this. There are days and days that'll go by that I never turn my television on. I'm not saying you can't ever watch it, but see, the average American watches about 6 hours of TV a day. Here's my theory on that. I don't want to watch millionaires having fun on a TV. I want to be a millionaire having fun. And if you're spending all your time watching that stuff, you're never going to be the millionaire and have fun yourself. You're going to always be watching it. Ladies and gentlemen, instead of doing that at night before you go to bed, get your smartphone or your iPad or your computer out, and how about we go to YouTube, and how about we watch some of the personal growth giants of our day? Zig Ziglar, Stephen Covey, John Maxwell, Joyce Meyer, Les Brown. I can go down the list of people we could watch just 20, 30 minutes of, and it can put some good stuff in our mind. And then as we're sleeping, when your mind never stops, it'll be thinking about the stuff you just watched, not a bunch of crap. Fair enough? And then the last one is this. You got to run with winners, ladies and gentlemen. If you're wanting to be a winner, you need to run with winners. See, you're not going to be an eagle soaring above if you're down scratching in the dirt with the chickens. You got to understand that. You need to decide who you're going to run with. I promise you, everybody in this room, some of us, we all know winners and we all know losers. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes, we do. We need to spend less time with those losers and more time with those winners, because the people that we're around rubs off on us, ladies and gentlemen. It rubs off on you. So if you're with winners, you're thinking positive thoughts. You're seeing that glass half full. You're starting to believe you can do it too. But the problem is, if I'm running with the losers, that stuff rubs off, and it's next to impossible for you to be positive if you're running with a bunch of negative people. Let's read a little bit. Let's listen instead of listening to the negative news on the radio or bebopping to the jams. Let's put us a good book on. How about at night, instead of watching the time-wasting electronic income reducer, we watch a little YouTube of personal growth giants, and then how about we start running with some winners? I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, you start doing that, your life will not be the same. It will not be the same, but we've got to make a decision that we're going to grow as a person. Number 3, we need to make a decision to be a person of action. To be a person of action. You know, it's great to sit around and think that I want more out of life, and I want a nicer house, and I want a nicer car, and I want to do more for my family, and I'd like to give more at church, and I want to do all this stuff. It's great to think those thoughts, but do you realize if you don't put any action to it, it doesn't matter. So I will say this. I think that the very smallest action is greater than the very biggest intention. Because it's easy to have those intentions. It's a little tougher to do what it takes to get the job done, isn't it? We have to get out of our comfort zone and actually do a few things if we really want to do the things that our mind's telling us we should do. Here's what we need to do, ladies and gentlemen. You need to, let's just take Stream, for example, since that's why we're here tonight, fair enough. And understand Stream can change our financial picture, which can help change every other picture in your life too. Do you understand that? I'm not going to say that money's the most important thing, but it's up there real close to oxygen. Everybody got me? Yeah. I mean, we just got to understand, we need to have all kinds of goals, relationship goals, health goals, personal growth goals, but financial goals. If we're struggling to pay the bills, all we're thinking about is money, and it's hard to think about anything else in our lives. We're just trying how to stretch that dollar, how to make another buck. Financial goals are big. Let's take Stream, person of action, Stream. Number one, everybody in this room needs to have a list of everybody you've ever known in your entire life. And you don't edit the list. You don't try to decide for the person who's going to do it and who's not. If that was the case, I'd have never talked to Mark Dean, because their car lot had nothing but Mercedes, BMWs, nothing but high-dollar cars on it. He looked like the picture of financial security. I had no idea he was in credit card debt up to his ears. If I was just going on what I thought, I'd have never talked to the guy. You got to understand there's different levels of broke. Some people don't look like they're broke, but they broke. And some people look like they're broke, and they are broke. You know, I mean, you can look like it, not look like it, and still be broke. Oh my God. You can live in a mobile home drive, you go be broke. You can live in that 6,000 square foot house and drive that SL Mercedes and still be broke, living paycheck to paycheck. So quit trying to decide. You don't know what their bank account looks like. Talk to them. The other thing I'll tell you, think this through. I've been blessed to be around a few people that have made millions and millions, a couple of them billions of dollars. You know what they're still trying to do? Make more money. Somebody the other day said, Presley, if you've really made $30 million, why are you still doing this thing? I said, I don't know how much enough is, but I haven't got there yet. I mean, I'm still going at it. I still enjoy what I do. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to do it, but you need to make a list. Put everybody you've ever known on that list. I'm talking about you need to have a couple of hundred people on that list. Don't give me this, I got 6 people on my list. No, you just wrote your 6 best friends down. I'm talking about people that you know on a first name basis. And I heard the other day reading an article that said by the time you're 18, you know 2,000 people on a first name basis. And I believe that. Who'd you go to elementary school with, middle school with, high school with, college with, worked with, church with, played with, kids with? I mean, come on. We know lots of people, guys. Write them down. If you don't have their number, try to figure it out. Write them down, though. Make a list. Then start making calls. I always say to people, everybody, if you want to make money in this business, you got to plug in, you got to set appointments, and you got to show the plan. Well, y'all are plugged in. You're here. You got to have that list to start setting appointments, though. So pick up the phone. Go, hey, I got something I want to run by you. Hey, I got something I'd like to talk to you about. Hey, I got something I want to get your opinion on. Can we meet at Starbucks? Can we meet at Jason's Deli? Can we meet at your house? Can we meet at my house? And if they start asking me what it's about, I always go, hey, same thing. I say the same thing every time. Hey, listen, it's a visual deal. I got to show you some numbers. I'm not going to try to explain it over the phone. I can't give you a haircut on the phone, and I can't explain this business on the phone, all right? So you want to get with them. If they're out of town, out of state, whatever, then you send them a link, have them watch the video, and then call them back in about 20 minutes. But we've got to get the presentation in front of people if you're wanting to make money in this business, guys. Just like Barry said, it's get a handful of customers and then build a team of people that what? Get a handful of customers. That's what this whole thing's about. Make a list, start setting appointments, and then show the plan. You got to show the plan. People all the time say, how have you made all that money? I have shown more plans than you have. Have I got no's? Absolutely. Bunches of them. But you know what? I don't think about the no's. But I tell you what, I say my prayers every night for good Lord to watch over Mark Dean. I remember Mark Dean. Man's made me millions and millions of dollars. I think about Mark Dean. You'll forget about all those no's. They'll hurt for a second, but then you forget about them. It's just about going to the next person. Some will, some won't. So what? Who's next? And just start working the numbers. You got to be a person of action. Sure, thoughts are wonderful. You want to get your thoughts down. You want to have your goals. But I'm telling you what, if you're not taking action to accomplish them, you're missing out, guys. It ain't never going to happen for you. You got to be a person of action. Make that decision tonight. Number 4, I only got 2 left. Y'all listen faster. You got to make a decision, and I think this is key. You got to make a decision to be passionate. I'm working on it. I know I'm a little in my shell, but I mean, I'm trying to get out. You know, here's what I really mean about that. Everybody look up here and get this. This is the one thing that gets me, Susan, is that if somebody kind of makes fun of somebody for doing stream, they'll quit a lot of times. Or if somebody says, oh, that thing's kind of like a cult. Are you going up there to that happy place where everybody's all happy? I feel like saying, so are you going to that job where everybody's sad? I mean, here's my point of this whole deal. Everybody look up here. Do you think Bill Gates got into Microsoft? Do you think he was passionate about Microsoft?
Yes.
Do you think he was into Microsoft?
Yes.
I would say
Yes.
yes. How about Jeff and Amazon? You think he kind of got into it?
Yes.
I would say he's about, I'm guessing he still is since he's worth about 80 billion, but I mean, he was passionate about it, ladies and gentlemen. How about Michael Dell? You think he was passionate about Dell computers? I'd say yes. How about Mary Kay? You think Mary Kay was passionate about her makeup company? I would say yes. I'd say she was into it. But somehow, with our stream business, if we get into it, we're kind of worried that somebody might think something about us.
Yeah.
Guys, let me tell you something. If you don't get into something, you're never going to do it big. You can make a few dollars, but it's not when you get into stream, it's when stream gets into you. I'm passionate about this business. You need to have some passion about what you're doing. We've got a chance. I can't guarantee anybody anything in this business. You follow me? That's my disclaimer. I can't guarantee you millions of dollars, but I'm going to tell you what, you got a chance. And if you're like me, all I ever wanted was a chance. But it ain't going to happen if you're embarrassed about stream. It ain't going to happen if you won't get into stream and let stream get into you. I'm pumped about this business. And I'll say this, I was pumped about it when I was talking to Mark Dean. And I didn't have much money back in. And I'm scratching it out on a napkin. We didn't have all these presentations and stuff. But I was passionate about what I did. I challenge you, ladies and gentlemen, to be passionate about this business and watch what happens. Because I say it all the time, if you'll get fired up, people will come from miles around to watch you burn. That's just a fact of life, ladies and gentlemen. See, people want to follow people that are passionate about life. People want to follow people that know where they're going. People want to follow people that have a vision. And I'll tell you right now, you got a chance to have a vision now. And yeah, is it different than what you've done your whole life? Absolutely. Absolutely. I used to could teach you how to shoot a pretty good jump shot. I mean, I know that form. Keep that elbow under that ball. Let that ball roll off those fingers. I can teach you how to shoot a basketball, but it never made me much money. I had to get passionate about something that would change my life because, ladies and gentlemen, if we're being honest tonight, I would dare say that most of us, not all, but most of us got trapped into leading a life we never intended to live. This is your chance to get out of that. But it's going to take you getting passionate. My fifth point and my last point. Make a decision to never quit. Make a decision to never quit. I'm telling you right now, the next person you talk to could be your Mark Dean. That next lady or guy that you have a chance to talk to could be the person that puts 100. How many people you got on your team, Dino? About 100,000.
Whoa.
My team's 100,000 bigger because of that guy. My pocketbook's about 10 million richer because of that guy. If I'd have quit, what if I'd have quit? Because I got some no's before I got his yes. What if I'd have quit? You know, that's what that passion does for you. That passion gives you the drive to keep going, ladies and gentlemen, when you get some of those no's. Because somebody can't tell me no. I know this thing's working, and I knew back then it was going to work. Now, let's review real quick. One was make a decision that the buck stops here. Number 2, make a decision to grow as a person. Number 3, make a decision to be a person of action. Number 4, make a decision to be passionate about stream. And number 5, make a decision to never quit. Here's my challenge to all of us tonight. I challenge us to make that decision that we're going to change our lives. Ladies and gentlemen, life goes by in a hurry. I knew I'd get old one day, but I didn't think I'd get old this quick. I don't know. I mean, it happens quicker than you think. It's going to go by, and I don't care if you're one of the young guys sitting there, it's going to go by a whole lot quicker than you ever dreamed. Why don't we decide, let's draw that line in the sand tonight and say we're going to stand in the gap, and we're going to show our family that somebody with our name can do something special. See, why don't we show our kids and grandkids that somebody with our name can do something special? Just like my cousin Manny, he didn't even know I was watching him, but I was. He was a cousin. He wasn't my dad, but he made something out of himself, and I'm standing in front of you because of a man named Manny Carter. Why don't you be Manny Carter for somebody in your family? I promise you, your kids and grandkids are looking at you, but I'm telling you what, there's a lot of other people watching you that you don't have a clue. Why don't we show them? We've got a chance because of Stream to change our lives. Is it going to be easy? Nope. You going to be disappointed some days? Yep. Is it worth it? Absolutely. Absolutely. But you got to make that decision tonight to make this thing happen, and I challenge every one of us to do that. I believe with all my heart there's going to be two groups of us in this room. There's going to be the group that's glad they did, and there's going to be the group that wishes they had, because I'm telling you what, this thing's happening with or without any of us. I just hope it happens with all of us, guys. God bless. We're done.
Hurricane!